Hello and welcome to the Streamline Shine podcast. My name is Steph Bolton and I'm 1/3 of Bolton Virtual Solutions, a team made up of me, Mum, and my two daughters, Sam and Amy. Our family virtual assistant agency's absolute passion is helping time-poor female entrepreneurs with those ridiculously long to-do lists, because we all know how they get longer instead of shorter, so that they're able to focus on doing what they love. You're going to want to stick around if you find yourself constantly just doing this thing quickly instead of spending time with your family, or if you look at your list of tasks and feel like crying, or even if you're just simply wondering how to manage your time better and delegate to your team. We're going to be covering topics from social media to marketing, systems and processes to outsourcing, and so much more, so that you can see what's possible for you and your business. So let's get stuck in. Hello and welcome to another episode of the Streamline Shine podcast. Today we're joined by an absolute powerhouse of a woman, Natasha Clarke from Natasha Clarke Coaching. And she's on the podcast today to answer my questions about her journey as an entrepreneur and how she's made things happen so that she's able to work smarter and not harder. So welcome, Natasha. Tell us a little bit about how your business is now, and we're going to come to your backstory shortly. So.
Yes, it's quite long and juicy. So I'm a business coach and a business mentor, and I specialize in helping my inspiring clients that want to build and grow their wildly business, right? And in a way where it's so aligned strategies and subconscious reprogramming. That is what literally sets me alight, because in order for you to create the dream business that you want to have, the one thing that's stopping you is these subconscious blocks. It's the limiting beliefs, it's the income ceilings. And what I help my clients do is smash through those. That is what I love to do.
Love that. I love that. And I love your energy as well when you're doing it. Like I've done a couple of your like what were they, like a challenge, wasn't it, that I'd done not long ago. And like, just it doesn't matter what time of day you dropped an audio, like you're just bouncing off the walls with high energy. Like I absolutely love it. So when did you start your business? Were you doing something different to begin with?
Yes, I've been doing business now 6.5 years. Prior to that, I was never that entrepreneur that dreamt of being an entrepreneur. I always dreamt of being a dancer. I wanted to be a star. That's what I wanted to be. I wanted to be a professional dancer. Think about MTV and those professional commercial dancers. That's what I wanted to be. I started dancing from the age of 4. Absolutely loved it. Was very talented at it. I then got into the Brit School, which is the only government funded school here in the UK. Got into
Amazing.
that.
That's right where I live.
Oh, really?
Yes, it is.
Oh,
Yes.
yeah, I love that. Yeah, and it's where like Amy, Adele went, lots of like famous artists. So I was like, this is it. Like, this is it. Got into that, was doing really well, going to auditions, like really starting to like make a little bit of money from it. But I didn't care. I was like, this is amazing. Then I had an injury and I snapped my disc. So then I had to go for major surgery where they told me that I would never be able to dance again. Now, I wasn't that kid in school that I got good grades, but I got good grades because I worked really hard for them. Like my sisters, I'm one of 3, and I'm the middle child. So my eldest, my younger sister were really just naturally smart, like worked at it, but really naturally smart. I wasn't that. Like my eldest sister, I don't think she even studied for her GCSEs and got like really good grades, whereas I studied really hard and got good grades. So when the surgeon told me that you can't dance, I didn't have a plan B. I was like distraught. I was literally like in a black hole thinking, what the hell am I going to do with my life? Because this is all I was meant to do. Fast forward, had the surgery. I was in the 3%, which meant that I I had surgical pain, but I didn't have actual degenerating pain anymore.
Oh,
I
okay.
got back dancing again. I was like, yes. And at this point, I'd always been, I don't know if positive is the right word, but I'd always been optimistic, right? Yeah, I'd grown up in, having friends that were more realistic. And, coming from the parents that I did, they were really hardworking, from an Irish background, very kind of realistic mentality. It wasn't like, oh, you can be, have, and create anything you want to do. It wasn't that attitude. It was, if the doctor said you were never going to dance again, you're never going to dance again. And my mum always kind of infused that little bit of positive and optimistic in me. So I then got back dancing again. 18 months later, had a car accident, snapped the disc above. Then I had to go for more surgery. And I was like, well, it's okay, because the first round of surgery worked. It didn't. And then I had to learn to like walk again. And it was just horrendous because I just didn't have anything else that I was good at. Long story short, I then went into a girl band. We got signed by Universal, quite a big record label here in the UK, had a TV show, and I was like, okay, this is it. This is what I was meant to do then. It wasn't the dance, and it was this. And then due to my back, I had to go for more surgery. So I had to pull out of the girl band. And then I was like, really, like, God, universe, are you literally playing with me here? Like everything I felt like I was doing, I felt like the rug would just get pulled, and then I'd go back down again, and I'd be like, what's the point? And I went to a massive pity party of like, why is everyone else successful? Why is everyone else fine with money? Why am I always the one that's struggling with my health and like not feeling like I have purpose? Why does everyone seem to have everything, together, and I don't? And then I kind of, after that, I fell into modeling, done some modeling. It was good. It was, the money was nice, but I didn't enjoy it. I was not sustained at all. My brain was just like, this is so boring. And I remember always being interested in business. So even when I was in the girl band, I'd be the one talking about contracts. Even when I was, doing the modeling, I was like, I wonder how I could make this a business. And then I created my own modeling agency. And I was like, okay, well, I know the models, I know the business, and it didn't go well. It didn't go well. Like, I found it so hard. I was like, maybe I'm just not cut out for business. I wasn't making any money. I was putting myself into more debt. I was probably working, no lie, 14 hours a day. So I'd get up at like 3 a.m. to work on the business. Then I'd go model. Then I'd come back. And at this point, I'm taking 200 milligrams of morphine a day. So I'm, pretty zoned out. I'm trying to run this business. It's not working. I hate my job. I'm crying every time I'm getting onto the tube. I was like, is this my life? Is this it? I felt just so frustrated and down of like why everyone else could have their life together and I couldn't. And then I kind of, from that point, on a personal note as well, I was also going through a massive breakup with the guy that I thought was going to be like the one. And I remember my sister giving me a book, and it was Louise L. Hay. It's like, I Can Heal Your Life. And I was like, I don't have time for this, Steph. Like, I'm going through the worst thing in my life. I don't have time for this. And she's like, make the time. And I did, and it changed my life. That's when I then really zoned into the mindset work. That's when I got into Tony Robbins. I was literally conditioning my brain, like brainwashing my brain every day on the tube with like a CD player at the time. CD player, I was listening on the tube, and it was Louise L. Hay, her affirmations going over and over and over again. I'm going to heal my body. I'm going to be successful. And that's where the journey of coaching started, because I looked at Tony Robbins and I was like, I'd love to do that. But of course, self-doubt. I'm like, who am I? Who am I to coach somebody else to be able to help someone transform their life? Like Tony, but not me. And that's when I discovered the coaching industry, where I was like, wow, there's people like me that help other people and coach them and mentor them. And that 6.5 years ago is where the dream started.
That's amazing. What a story, can I add? Like girl band, modeling, dancing, like living the life, but it wasn't the life. That's the thing.
Massive amounts of failure. And I think that's what made me the strong badass I am today, because of all of that. When you have, like, people go, you've got so much tenacity. I'm like, yeah, I've got grit and I've got love for this work so much because of everything I've been through and how I've had to grow my mind so strong to be able to do it.
And I don't think you get that grit unless you've been through something like really tough. Do you know what I mean? Like they say things are sent to test the strong ones, don't they? So,
Sure.
I think you've proved that.
I think so, but I can imagine there's more beautiful challenges to come.
Of course, we love a bit of curveballs in life, don't we? So, okay, so looking forward then to 2025. What's your big focus for 2025 in your business and why?
I think because I've seen the power of the subconscious work. So in 2022, yes, it didn't all stop there. It wasn't just all plain sailing. In 2022, I had a lot of stuff going on in my life, my personal life. One of the things was I got told that my sister had 5 years to live. My mother-in-law died. So much happened that year. It crushed me. And at this point, I was doing mindset work. I was obviously a mindset coach, and I was doing business. I scaled my business 6 figures, and I was teaching other people how to do that. But at this point, everything was happening in my personal life was affecting my business. I wasn't making the money I was making. I wasn't having the impact, and it massively knocked my confidence. My identity got shaken. I was like, who am I? I'd just come off the back of a 60K launch, and then the next launch I'd done, I made 23K, and I was like, I'm a failure, which sounds ridiculous, but when you're in that, I was so entangled into my self-worth being how successful my business was, which is ridiculous, but it's how you feel at the time. It was a massive snowball of that whole year. And I remember the coach I had at the time, she had gone through a horrendous time as well. And she'd said, listen, I've just been doing RRT, which is rapid resolutional therapy. You need to try it. So I did. And I was like, holy Maloney, in one session, he was able to clear my attachment to money. So, for example, when I wasn't making money, I didn't feel deserving to be with my husband. I didn't feel a good enough mum. I didn't think I was cool enough for my friends because I didn't make the money I made. It had a massive, I can't even express to you, a massive knock-on effect to my mental health. So I'm doing this, and he was able to detach that from me. So whatever I made that month, I was like, it's just money, it's just data. It meant nothing about me. And yet I'd spent probably 30 years feeling that way about money. When I was thriving in the girl band, it was because I was a badass. When I was making money in modeling, it was a badass. But when I wasn't, or I didn't get the audition, or got told I was too fat, or I finished with my boyfriend, or whatever it might have been, massively affected me. So from discovering this subconscious programming, how much it changed my life, I then started putting it into my one-on-ones. They started getting the most incredible results. Then I created a group program, Conscious Coach, and then they were getting amazing. I was like, oh my goodness, like every entrepreneur needs this, because like having your own business is trigger city. You know, whether there's
100%
payment or a client, a dream out of client wants to work with you and then goes, no, I'm not. Like it's a trigger, unless you do the work. So for me, bringing the subconscious programming even more to the forefront of every entrepreneur's toolkit is my goal for 2025. I want to help millions of people with this work. And that's a massive freaking goal. But I just know how much it changed my life. And that sounds so cliche, doesn't it? It changed my life. But it honestly did. When I was on the floor on my bathroom, sobbing, thinking I'm not even good enough because of the success that I'm not having in my business, I'm like, I want no other woman to go through that pain that I went through. So I'm like, this is the toolkit that every woman needs.
Yeah. And in all honesty, I'd not heard of RRT until I started following you. So and I've been following you for a while now, I
Have
think,
you?
but I have. But so, yeah, I think it's only been like the last 18 months maybe that I'd heard of it. And I think I've only known one other person to talk about RRT.
Yeah.
So, in full disclosure, I've not done any RRT work, but it is something that I'm considering seriously because, like you say, it's trigger city. Like being a business owner is not for the faint-hearted. So yeah, I do think that you're right. It's something that everyone should at least consider.
For sure.
So yeah, I think you're onto something there with the RRT because it's not spoken about enough, like the power of it and the change that it can bring, and So, but I love that though. Millions of people, only small goals around here, eh,
I
Tash?
know. For sure.
Okay, so I want to know what you would say the importance is of having business besties and finding your tribe as a female business owner.
Oh, God, it melts my heart when you say that. It's everything. It honestly is. And I have got the most incredible best friends, okay, that don't run businesses.
Yeah.
My two sisters are included in my top five, right? They are the bestest friends in the whole wide world. But you don't get business unless you're a businesswoman. And I
Yeah.
tell you what, it's the good, the bad, the ugly, and the sad. And I've got four biz besties. I started with one, and as a kind of brewing business, I then gathered the core four, we call each other, right? And I tell you what, not just business aside, but like babies, life just gets you. So I think having people that get it, that you can talk algorithm, that you can say your wildest dreams. So I wouldn't want to, it's emotional intelligence. I wouldn't want to say, oh, I want to make X amount of money this month, right? When I know full well one of my friends might even make that in a year. You just, so you want to have that club that you can go to someone, this is what my goal is, and they go, you joking? I would double that. Like, come on,
Yeah.
you can do this. You want to have that support system that get to celebrate you as hard as you should be celebrating yourself, but also hold you when times are low. And I think for me, I've always, I've always, and like, when you just know a lot of people, but then there's only a few people that I actually trust. So
Yeah.
the girls always don't, and joke and go, we're so lucky to be in your core four because like Tash doesn't put many people in the circle. And I'm like, because for me, when someone becomes a friend, they're my family and I'm a ride or die. I would do absolutely anything. I don't believe in competition. And my four biz besties, we all we all really do kind of the same thing very differently, and we're all very different people, but we're all coaches. Whereas most people, and especially growing up in the industry of like modeling, very competitive. People didn't want to talk about what agents they're with. They didn't want to
Yeah.
talk about auditions they're going through. It was very dog eat dog. And I just wasn't that girl. I was like, oh, I'm with blah, blah, blah. And oh, I got paid this for this. So don't go for lower than that. Like I was always that girl. So for
Yeah.
me, I'm definitely going to cheerlead my biz besties because I truly believe when you do the work, when you do the subconscious work, no one feels like a competitor because I don't believe in that. I think your energy speaks volumes. People are going to want to come and work with you, Steph, because of you and what your brand is about and your morals and your energy. And it doesn't matter if everyone else around you is doing the same thing. So I think it's I can't stress the importance of having a club. And if you don't have biz besties, then get them. I found my first one in a group program that I was in, and we just literally, she was like, oh, I think I already stalked you before I joined the program. And she was from Essex. I lived in Essex at the time, so we just really connected.
Yeah.
So I think if you don't have that, go out and find it. Do some networking. Get into some containers, memberships, whatever it is that you can be in to surround yourself with women like that, especially live events. I think they're so
Oh
key.
my God.
The in-person energy is just different, isn't it?
It really is. It really is, especially at the one we were at
Yes.
in December, early this month. So my biz besties, I met one in the membership that I'm in,
Yeah.
and that was almost 2 years ago now. And we can just talk about anything. Like we can be disgusting with each other. We can talk about business with each other. We can be rude with each other. Like it, anything.
Yeah.
And we just instantly clicked. We had a couple of things in common, but they were big things, besides business. And then one of my other biz besties I only met a year ago, and it feels like she's been in my life forever. And that's a key thing for me. Like you can just sit with someone and you instantly click, and it just feels like they've been by your side the whole time.
Yeah.
And my other biz bestie, I only met in like probably March, April. And again, it feels like we've known each other forever. We're always on the phone to each other, whether it's about business or personal stuff, or even just to be idiots with each other. Like it really doesn't matter. Like, but I just think it's so, so important. And when you found your tribe as well, don't you?
You do. It's actually made me emotional hearing that when you speak about that.
Oh, cute.
I'm like, it is so important though, isn't it? Because business can be really lonely. Like if you just want to do this on your own, like good luck, because it can be challenging, it can be tough, and you want your girl band behind you, don't you? That you
Yeah,
get chosen and
yeah,
that support you and love you and care for you beyond the successes and beyond the failures and beyond the challenges. They just love you and they care for you and they want you to succeed.
yeah, yeah. That's exactly it. But yeah, I do agree with you that having your circle around you, if you haven't got one, go and find one.
Yeah.
Like, you just need to, if you put the work in, they'll put the work in, but it will feel effortless. And that's
Yeah,
that's like a good sign, isn't it?
for sure. That's when you know you've met your soul girls.
Yes, definitely. Okay, so bit of a cliche question, but I'm always interested to hear what people say. So if you could go back to when you first started in business as a coach, let's say,
Yeah.
or if you were talking to someone who was a brand new business owner, what advice would you give them for
Oh,
2025?
I know this one. Stop focusing on the strategy because the strategy is only 5%. Focus on the subconscious. That's 95%. When I first started, I joined a group program and it had some energetics to it, but the majority was very masculine. It was very heavy into Facebook ads, very into cold DMs, like very into that. And
Mm,
when you're new into the business, you don't know any different. It's not like the way it is now. You don't have people like for example, me talking about subconscious, you didn't have that at the time. It spoke about mindset and the importance of it, but it was kind of like this, whereas the
yeah,
strategy was huge. So I would say social media is going to try and convince you that you just need this one proven strategy, or you just need to do this one reel and go viral. And I'm sorry, but it's BS. That's not what creates the success, nor will it create sustainable success. You need to work on you, your energetics, your identity. Those limiting beliefs is going to be what's the difference between you making 10K, 20K, 30K, whatever your goal is for the month. That's the difference. Because listen, I'm living proof of it. I've done the same strategy twice. I had a 60K launch and a £600 launch using the exact same strategy. What was the difference? The energetics, me, my limiting beliefs. My belief around could I make this type of money again was the reason why I didn't make that money again. I couldn't hold it. So yeah, I made it, done the mindset work to hold it. Oh, sorry, to attract it in, but I couldn't hold it. So that's why the next one I could make it. So no amount of strategy I would have executed. And I had it coming out of my ears. Like, this is what I've done for 6.5 years. I know strategy. Like, to me,
Yeah.
the easy part in business, the strategy part. It's the energetics, it's the belief, it's the you tapping into the version of yourself that's already having and doing and creating all the things that you want right now. That's the hardest work. It's when the self-doubt comes in. It's when you get triggered seeing someone else. Let's say your goal is to make 20K and someone's done it in a day. You get triggered. You know, like I mentioned, the default and the payment, you didn't hit your goal, whatever it might be. If you don't do that work, that is what's going to stop you from actually making the money you want and having a successful business.
Yeah,
Oh.
I love that answer though, because I don't think, like, obviously, before I started as a business owner, I was aware of mindset. Like, it's becoming more and more spoken about as the years go by. Whereas when I was younger, you wouldn't have heard the word mindset at all.
Mm.
It was always attitude, you know.
Yeah, yeah.
So, but mindset for me, I didn't really think about until I started in business, and I do think it's a big part of your journey as a business owner.
Huge.
But when you were saying about like it's a big part because the limiting beliefs come in, the self-doubt, the imposter syndrome, all of those things, like the money blocks and whatever it might be. I've had all of those.
Mm.
And it was only because I started as a business owner that I was able to work on them, because I hadn't really like read much about it, heard much about it, that kind of thing beforehand. But now that I have worked on them, I can every time I've done it, I can feel an up level in myself.
Yeah.
And that's like really empowering in itself, let alone when you then go and do the thing and succeed at it. So it is a massive part of being a business owner, 100%. So
It's huge. And I think that's my mission, to speak about it even more, because there's a difference between, the way I see it is, subconscious is like mindset work on steroids. Okay. So you've got mindset work, you've got affirmations, you've got the journaling, you've got that, which is very powerful, but you're only working on the surface level. And that's why I get so many clients come to me and they feel frustrated because they're like, I'm doing the affirmations, I'm doing the mindset work, I'm journaling, I'm getting up at 5. And I'm like, whoa, 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 whoa. Let's say you're in the mirror and you're going, I could be a millionaire. I'm a millionaire. I'm a millionaire. And you do it 1,000 times. Nothing changes because you're working with the conscious part of your brain, which is only 5%. We need to work on, what do you truly believe? Because it's when you're jumping on live and let's say you're selling your program, but you're not selling it with confidence or conviction. Why? Because you don't back it. You don't believe in yourself. You don't believe it can sell for $1,000. You don't believe you can sell 5 of them and make 5 grand this month. So it doesn't matter how many affirmations you say in the mirror. Because unless you've done the work to actually shift through those limiting beliefs, nothing is going to change. And then what happens? Your subconscious mind sees anything different or unknown as unsafe. It's like alert, alert, danger, threat, threat. It's not a threat, it's just a live of you talking about your offers. But it will see it as the same as a saber-toothed tiger. So it will drain the blood from your brain down to your legs so you run faster, or to your jaw so you bite harder. Who needs to bite harder when you're on a live? You don't. So that's where logic comes out. That's where your joy or energy all gets drained from you. So that's why we need to rewire your subconscious for safety. So it doesn't see 10K as like, oh, it's the holy grail. No, it's not. It's just 10, it's just money. It's just energy. Like, that's all it is. And I remember when I used to hear that, I used to think, well, it's okay for you because you've got loads of money. That's why you say it. That's what you did. And now I totally get it. Because if I was to say to you, okay, if you vision £10,000 in front of you, right? See the number, see the pound sign. Okay, now I would say you look at it and you're like, oh yeah, that looks good, right? And then I take the pound sign away from it. It's just 10,000, and I put grams next to it. Does it have the same emphasis? No. Why? Because we put the emotional attachment on the pound sign. Whereas the grams, you're like, what does that even matter? 10,000 grams of sugar? Woohoo, right? So that's why we need to do the subconscious work, because there's been beliefs that you've been ingrained in from a young child of you've got to hustle. Money's really hard to come by. You're not the rich kind. Whatever it might have been that you've heard, you're running your business on those programming. That's why the conscious work isn't working. That's why when you're seeing your girl on Instagram go viral and make X amount of money, isn't just because of the strategy or the conscious work. It's because she's done this belief in herself. And I remember there was a conversation that we had, us biz besties, and all really successful in what it is that we do. All do very different things, as in some are more strategy focused, some are more like law of attraction focused. But the one common denominator is our mindset, is the belief. It's that belief that this will happen 1,000,000%. Or whatever I do, winners win. Money always gets to support me. Why? Because we've worked in our subconscious. And that's why the winners always win. That's why listen, it doesn't mean that things don't go wrong in business. It means how's your attitude of where you can pivot, what you can change, rather than, oh my goodness, of course it's going to happen. I told you I wasn't going to make 10K this month. She defaulted on payment. This didn't happen. I didn't go viral, blah, 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 blah. And then guess what? You go into the same month or the same year with the same attitude and the same subconscious, then you're going to get the same results.
Oh, I could listen to you all day.
It's like a TED talk, preach. I'm like, okay,
Yeah,
right, enough
yeah,
of the
preach,
preaching.
sister. Okay, so you said earlier that you want to talk to millions of business owners about RRT. You want to introduce them to it, you want to work on it with them. But what is the big dream for you? So like 5-year, 10-year dream, what's the big, big goal for you?
I want to be the known freaking leader, the trailblazer for the subconscious work, for someone that teaches business, teaches the strategies, but it's known for that. And then on top of that, I want to be like I'd love to be like the motivational speaker on stages, preaching on my TED Talks, really kind of empowering other women and so they can get that buzz inside of them and go, yeah, like I want my energy to be contagious. I want people to
Yeah.
come and be like, oh my goodness, that was mind blowing. That's what I want. And I want that to be on worldwide stages. That's what I freaking want.
What a goal. What a goal. She's doing it. Watch this space, everybody.
Yeah, freaking out.
Okay, so with that, with your 2025 focus, with where your business is going, with your big dream in mind, how have you streamlined things in your business? Whether it's systems and processes, managing your time, having boundaries in place, anything like that. What have you done to help you achieve those goals?
Ooh, love this question. I've got a team, so I delegate everything that they're really great at and that their zone of genius, and that's not mine. I'm not really, for example, what works for me is if my team WhatsApp me. ClickUp's fantastic, right? But to me, it just feels like an overwhelming task that I need to look at. I'm like to my team, listen, if you really need me, the quickest way is to do it on WhatsApp. So I think running a business that feels good to you. I work 3 days a week, so I can spend the rest of the week with my son, Santiago. I run 2 businesses. And I think what's more important is A, you love what you do. B, you have the support with you. So that coach, mentors, having the support, whether it's like VAs, having that team that supports you to be able to streamline your business, invest into softwares and systems that can do it for you. So, people say, oh, how do making money while you sleep or while I'm out, for example, at the park with Santiago, my stripes pinging off. Why? Because I have I have the back end on point. But I tell you what was really important on the front end for me and what I teach is social media. That's where I'd say probably 90% of my clients come from is social media. So it might look that I've got that omnipresence, or it might look that I'm always on, but I'm not. It's the way I strategically plan and execute my social media so that it's bingeable, so that I have people that come on, binge all my content straight into my DMs or go straight to my links and they buy and they're like, oh my goodness, just followed you and she's applied to work for me one-on-one, or she's joined Conscious Coach or Blocks the Bank, whatever it might be. So I think if you're saying, oh, I really want to make daily sales, well, what's the strategy and what's the energetics behind that? And do you have that in place? Because we can want things, and that's why I say the strategy is important. Like it needs to be able to support you so that you can get paid every day and you can serve your clients and you can support the audience that want to come into your world. So I think managing both of those, the energetics, like I said, is the forefront, and then having that support on the back end. So someone like, obviously, if you are in your business and you are feeling overwhelmed with the type of task, because there's a lot to do in your business, that's why you hire Steph, right? You can sit there and you can struggle and go, this is really hard, I don't have enough hours in the day. Or you can go, right, if I invest X amount for Steph to do X, Y, and Z, that allows me time to be in my zone of genius. Because if you're not good at that task, why are you spending so long on it? Because Steph could probably do it in a magic second. Why don't you stay focused on what actually makes you money and allows you the space to do that? So I think people can get stuck in that rut of when to do that. I'd say straight away.
Yeah, and it's worrying. Like we find a lot of the time when we're talking to like potential clients that they're worried about investing the money to get the thing done, because they're not earning the money. But what we really try to push through is that they will be earning the money because they're investing to get this thing done. So once they've got their systems and everything set up, or they've got the automations in place, or, like whatever it might be, that's when the money will come in. But we understand that investing, especially for the first time, can be quite difficult and like a hard thing to encourage yourself to do.
Yeah.
But you have to weigh up the pros and cons at the end of the day, don't you? And
Yeah.
if there's more pros than cons, then what are you waiting for, is what I always say.
Yeah, and I actually, funny enough, straight away it comes to mind is energetics. There's obviously a money block there that someone, invests. Like, listen, at any level, when you invest, you feel fear. But the difference is I hold the fear now. It doesn't, as you make more money in business, you invest bigger. So nothing really changes. Like the first time I invested, my first coach was, I trained to be a qualified coach, 4.5K. And then literally probably about 6 months after that, a 5 grand. When I made not a penny, I was on call to people charging £40 an hour and they were telling me I was too expensive. And I invested 9.5K. So I think, I'm not saying you have to do that. I'm just saying, and for me, it took me a while because I wasn't of the understanding of a VA and what they could do for me. So I think education around it is really important. And then once you actually do it once, now, honestly, I could not run my business without my team or the support of the systems that I have. Never. I don't know anyone that has reached the levels of success that they've wanted to get their business to that has done it alone. And listen, no one honors the hustle, right? You might be making X amount of money and you're like, I've done this all by myself, but you're basically exhausted on the floor and you don't have a mental health and you don't, your money means nothing because you're not even happy. So find a balance, girl.
That's right. That's right. I love that. Okay, so please can you tell our listeners, you've mentioned it very quickly, where they can find you and what your current offer is for them.
Indeed, come over to the gram. It's at Natasha Clarke Coaching. That is where I hang out all day. Well, I say all day every day, but most all the times every day.
Strategically.
Yes, exactly. Come on to my stories. That's when you see the real kind of behind the scenes of what's going on. And yes, it's box the blank, right? And I created this because it says what it does on the tin, right? You've got a block and you want to make some bank. Let's clear the blocks, right? And this literally, one of my clients is £111, right? And she's just making, so her goal was what she wanted to get to 10K mums, and she's just hit 30 from the subconscious reprogramming. I mean, this is what I mean. Like the work is in the subconscious work. Once you actually do it and you commit to it, listen, it isn't a magic potion where you just listen to it once and Natasha works the magic and you're good to go.
Yeah.
But it's committing to that, listening to it. And I do it in a strategic way where one of the tracks is you go to bed listening to it. It's not even hard. You just got to sleep and let me do my subconscious reprogramming on you. And I was to say to someone, like, if you could invest that £111 and forget making 30K, right? But maybe that feels out of reach for you. But you were to double that or triple that or quadruple that. Is it worth the investment? This is what I always say. And that's why I wanted to make it at a no-brainer. Because my clients go to me, oh my God, this could literally be a 5 grand program. I'm like, yeah, but I want to get this out to millions. And people that are new to subconscious or a little bit scared to try it, want to have a taster, it's kind of like a new chocolate bar that comes out and you're like, no, I only want to stick to Cadbury's. No, I just like I'm like, but this could be incredible. So what do? I give you a little taster. You taste it, it's Maltesers, and you're like, chocolate with a biscuit. Oh my freaking gosh, right? Change your life.
I'm hungry now.
Go get the Maltesers.
No, I think that's brilliant. Blocks the bank. Love the name as well. Like, hello. Does what it says on the tin and everything.
So business is simple. Business is simple.
Yeah, it is, because the thing is business is only hard because we make it hard. And someone said that to me probably about 3.5 years ago, and I was like, actually, you're probably right. But it took me a little while to realize that that was the case, because we love to overcomplicate things, we love to worry about things, we love to panic about things, and and that's when all of these negative thoughts come in, and the imposter syndrome and whatever else. So yeah, I do think we do make business harder than it really needs to be.
But it's because of how we're hardwired. It's how we're hardwired to work. And B, that's quite a hard pill to swallow when you actually realize that you're making this a bigger deal. It
Yeah,
isn't the strategy, it isn't the social media, it's not going viral. It's actually your beliefs around yourself and success and how you think about yourself and how you feel about yourself. That's a harder pill to swallow. It's very easy to go,
definitely.
oh, the algorithm's against me, rather than actually, my beliefs are up the wall when it comes to money. I don't actually think I can make this. Like, is it going to work? Is it not? It's us. And that's why the importance is doing that work on ourselves. And it's always easier to follow a step-by-step strategy of a blueprint. Do this,
Definitely.
post this, say this, here's your hook, here's your juice, here's your call to
Yeah.
action. That's so
Yeah.
much easier. Whereas then when you've actually got to look at what's really going on, why you think the way you do, why you're feeling the way you're doing, and why you have so much attachment around whatever it is, the validation, the experience, whatever it might be, that's the real work. But then that's what creates the results.
Yeah. That's it. That's it. Well, that's it for today. Thank you so, so much for joining us. Like I say, I could listen to you talk all day, so I might just keep you on call afterwards and just you can talk while I work. Is that all right?
No problemo.
Right. Well, that concludes today's episode of the Streamline and Shine podcast. All of the links for Natasha will be in the show notes below, and make sure you go and check her out. And until then, take care and keep streamlining and shining. Thank you so much for listening to this episode of Streamline and Shine. If you have questions on what we covered inside, please feel free to reach out to us on Instagram at bolton_virtual_solutions, or you can email us at teambolton@boltonvirtualsolutions.co.uk. We absolutely love hearing from our amazing community and are always here to support you. If you'd like to be interviewed on a future episode, please drop us an email letting us know which topic you'd like to speak about, and we'll get back to you. See you on the next episode, lovelies. Thank you so much for listening to this episode of Streamline and Shine. If you have questions on what we covered inside, please feel free to reach out to us on Instagram at bolton_virtual_solutions, or you can email us at teambolton@boltonvirtualsolutions.co.uk. We absolutely love hearing from our amazing community and are always here to support you. If you'd like to be interviewed on a future episode, please drop us an email letting us know which topic you'd like to speak about, and we'll get back to you. See you on the next episode, lovelies.